You're a dead man, Chen. David Morrison's voice hit Marcus like a bullet the moment he stepped into the office Monday morning. Every head in the bullpen turned. Every conversation stopped. I saw you. David continued walking closer. Saturday, at Sunset Pier. Getting real cozy with our boss. Real cozy. Marcus's blood went cold. What exactly did you see? David smiled. The kind of smile that meant destruction. Everything. My name is Marcus Chen. I'm 52, a single father, an architect. And 72 hours ago, I accidentally saw my CEO topless at the beach. She caught me staring. Now someone else knows, and he wants me gone. Comment which city you're watching from so I can see how far this story travels. You're a dead man, Chen. The words echoed through the open office like a gunshot. Marcus froze 3 steps past the elevator. His briefcase suddenly felt like it weighed 100 pounds. Around him, 20 designers stopped typing. Stopped talking. Stopped breathing. David Morrison stood by the coffee machine, arms crossed, that shark smile spreading across his face. I don't know what you're talking about, Marcus said. Sure you don't. David walked toward him slowly, deliberately. Saturday, Sunset Pier, you and Diana Lawson. Ring any bells? Marcus's throat went dry. I was there with my daughter. I know, cute kid. But that's not what caught my attention. David stopped 2 feet away, lowering his voice just enough that only Marcus could hear. What caught my attention was you staring at our boss's chest, like you'd never seen a woman before. It was an accident. The wind. I don't care what it was. David's eyes were cold. What I care about is that Diana Lawson owes me that Henderson project. I've been here 11 years. 11 years. And you? You've been here 4. 4 years of kissing ass and playing the sad single dad card. I never... Save it. David leaned closer. I'm going to find out what's really going on between you two. And when I do, you're finished. He walked away, leaving Marcus standing in the middle of the office with 24 pairs of eyes burning into his back. Sarah, the receptionist, caught his eye and mouthed, You okay? Marcus nodded. But he wasn't okay. He wasn't okay at all. 72 hours earlier. Daddy, you're getting sunscreen in my eyes. Hold still, Em. I am holding still. You're wiggling like a worm. Worms don't wiggle, they squirm, Mrs. Patterson told me. Marcus laughed. Fine, you're squirming like a worm. Now hold still. Emma made a face but stopped moving long enough for Marcus to finish coating her shoulders. 6 years old and already she had opinions about everything. He wondered where she got that from. Actually, he knew exactly where she got it from. Done. Go play. Emma bolted toward the water before he finished the sentence. Not past your knees, he shouted. She didn't look back. Classic Emma. Marcus dropped into his beach chair and let out a breath he'd been holding all week. First day off in 23 days. 23 days of late nights, impossible deadlines, and Diana Lawson's voice in his ear demanding more. Better, faster. His phone buzzed. He looked at it. Diana Lawson. Of course. Henderson Project, Monday, 7 a.m. Don't be late. Marcus typed back, I'll be there. What else could he say? Diana wasn't the kind of boss you negotiated with. She was the kind of boss who made grown men cry in conference rooms and didn't apologize afterward. He put the phone down and looked for Emma. She was knee-deep in the waves, crouched over something in the sand. Probably a shell. Probably a dead crab. With Emma, you never knew. Daddy, come look. What did you find? A sand dollar? A whole one. Marcus pushed himself up. His knees cracked. 52 years old and his body had started filing complaints. He walked toward the water, and that's when he saw her. Diana Lawson, 50 yards away, near the private cabanas. He recognized her instantly. The posture, the way she held herself like the world owed her something. But everything else was different. Her hair was loose. She was wearing a white cover-up. She was laughing. Diana Lawson never laughed. Look away, Marcus told himself. Look away right now. But he couldn't. There was something about seeing her like this human, unguarded real that made it impossible to turn away. That's when the wind came. It hit the beach like a fist, sudden and violent. Umbrellas flew, towels scattered, and Diana's cover-up, that thin white fabric, ripped away from her body like it had been yanked by invisible hands. For one frozen second she stood there, exposed, completely exposed from the waist up. Marcus's eyes went wide. He didn't mean to look. He really didn't. But by the time his brain caught up with his eyes, it was too late. Diana had already seen him. Their eyes met across 50 yards of sand. Shock, recognition, fury, the trifecta of doom. "Oh God," Marcus whispered. His body wouldn't move. His brain wouldn't function. He just stood there, paralyzed, watching Diana secure her cover-up and start walking toward him with murder in her eyes. "Daddy, what's wrong?" Emma was beside him now, tugging his hand. "Nothing, sweetheart. Everything's fine. Your face is all white. It's the sunscreen. You didn't put sunscreen on your face. Emma, please." "Mr. Chen." The voice was ice. Pure, crystalline, deadly ice. Marcus turned around. Diana Lawson stood 3 feet away, her wet hair pushed back, her jaw clenched so tight he could see the muscles working beneath her skin. "Ms. Lawson, I am so sorry. I didn't mean to—" "Stop talking." He stopped. Diana stared at him for a long moment. Her chest was heaving. Her hands were shaking. Marcus had never seen her lose control before, and watching it happen now was terrifying. "What you saw," she said quietly, "was an accident." "Yes, completely. The wind." "I know it was the wind." Her voice cracked just slightly. "I know you didn't mean to see what you saw, but that doesn't change the fact that you did." "I understand. And I swear to you, I will never." "Who's this?" Emma had inserted herself between them, looking up at Diana with unfiltered curiosity. "Emma, not now." "Are you Daddy's boss?" "The mean lady." Marcus felt his soul exit his body. "Emma." But Diana's reaction surprised him. Instead of anger, something flickered across her face. Something almost like pain. "The mean lady," she repeated. "Daddy says you make him nervous because you're really smart and you never smile." "I smile." "Really?" "Because Daddy says Emma." Marcus grabbed his daughter's hand. "That's enough." But Diana was looking at Emma now, really looking at her, and something in her expression had shifted. "What's your name?" Diana asked. "Emma Chen." "I'm 6 3/4. What's yours?" "Diana." "That's a princess name. Are you a princess?" "No, I'm an architect." "Like Daddy." "Your daddy works for me." Emma considered this. "So you're like a queen." Diana's lips twitched. Almost a smile. Almost. "Something like that?" Emma held up her sand dollar. "Look what I found. It's perfect. Do you want to see?" Marcus opened his mouth to intervene, but Diana was already crouching down, taking the sand dollar in her palm, examining it like it was a rare artifact. "Do you know what these are?" Diana asked, pointing at the small shapes visible through the shell. Emma shook her head. "Doves. Legend says when you break a sand dollar, you set the doves free and they carry your wishes to heaven." "Really?" "That's what my father told me." "Where's your father?" "He died a long time ago." Emma's face fell. "I'm sorry. My mommy went away too. But she's not dead. She just didn't want to be my mommy anymore." Marcus's heart split in half. Diana looked up at him, and for the first time since he'd met her, he saw something human in her eyes, something wounded. "Sometimes people leave because they're broken inside," Diana said softly. "Not because of anything you did." "That's what Daddy says." "Your daddy sounds smart." "He is. He draws buildings." I know, I've seen them. Diana stood brushing sand from her knees. They're very good. She was looking at Marcus now, and there was something different in her gaze. Something he couldn't quite name. Ms. Lawson. Diana, when we're not at the office. Diana, I really am sorry about what happened. I know, she paused. I also know you didn't look away immediately. Marcus felt his face burn. But you looked away, eventually. She tilted her head. Most men wouldn't have. I'm not most men. No. I'm beginning to see that. An awkward silence fell between them. Emma broke it by grabbing Diana's hand. Do you want to help build my sandcastle? Emma. I'm sure Ms. Diana has other things to do. But Diana was already being pulled toward Emma's construction site. I haven't built a sandcastle in 30 years, Diana said. Then you're probably really bad at it, Emma replied. Don't worry, I'll teach you. Marcus watched his boss, his terrifying, untouchable boss, get dragged across the beach by his 6-year-old daughter. He should stop this. He should intervene. He should. He followed them instead. For the next 30 minutes, Diana Lawson, CEO of Lawson Design Studio, terror of the Miami architecture world, was on her knees in the sand, taking instructions from a 6-year-old. No, the moat goes here. Why here? Because that's where the alligators live. Alligators. Every castle needs alligators. Marcus sat on his beach chair, watching in disbelief. Diana was focused, intent, treating this sandcastle like it was a $40 million development project. And Emma was bossing her around like she'd been doing it her whole life. You're actually pretty good at this, Emma announced. Thank you. I had a good teacher. Do you have kids? The question landed like a bomb. Diana's hands stopped moving. No, I don't. Why not? Emma, Marcus warned. It's okay. Diana resumed her work on the moat. I never found the right time, or the right person. Daddy doesn't have a person either. Emma. What you don't? Mrs. Patterson says you're married to your job. Diana looked at Marcus. Is that true? I work a lot. For me. Yes. And that keeps you from finding a person. Marcus didn't know how to answer that. The truth was complicated. The truth involved divorce papers and broken promises and a little girl who needed him to be everything. Life got complicated, he said finally. Diana nodded slowly. Life has a way of doing that. A woman approached Diana's sister based on their similar features. Diana? We should probably... She stopped when she saw the sandcastle. What are you doing? Building a castle. Obviously. With your employee. With his daughter. He just happens to be attached. The sister Melissa looked at Marcus with undisguised curiosity. You're the architect she's always talking about. Diana shot her sister a look that could kill. Diana talks about her employees, Marcus asked. Diana talks about you, Melissa corrected. Specifically, something about raw talent and wasted potential. Melissa, enough. But Melissa was grinning now. She also said you were... We're leaving. Diana stood abruptly, brushing sand from her legs. Now. But the castle isn't finished, Emma protested. Diana looked down at Marcus's daughter and something in her face softened. Some things are worth finishing slowly, so they're done right. She was talking about the castle. Marcus was sure she was talking about the castle. Will you come back? Emma asked. Maybe, someday. Diana turned to leave, then paused. Mr. Chen. Yes. The Monday meeting. Consider it postponed. I'll send you the new time. She walked away before he could respond. Melissa lingered a moment longer. She likes you, she said quietly. And Diana doesn't like anyone. Then she was gone too. Emma waved until they disappeared from sight. Daddy? Yeah, sweetheart. She's not mean. She's just sad. Marcus looked at his daughter, this tiny, impossible creature who saw things adults spent years learning to ignore. I think you're right, Em. I think you're right. That night after Emma was asleep, Marcus sat on his back porch with a beer he didn't want. His phone buzzed. Unknown number. Thank you for today. Both the accident and the conversation with your daughter. I don't often encounter kindness. Marcus stared at the message. Who is this? Someone who doesn't smile very much. Despite everything, he laughed. How did you get my number? I'm your boss. I have everyone's number. That's terrifying. I prefer efficient. Same thing. A pause. Then, your daughter is remarkable. She gets it from her mother. The parts that aren't broken anyway. I'm sorry. About your wife. Ex-wife. And don't be. Some people aren't meant to stay. Another pause. Longer this time. My father used to say that people come into our lives for reasons we don't understand until later. What do you think he'd say about today? He'd probably say the wind was doing its job. Marcus smiled at his phone like an idiot. Good night, Diana. Good night, Marcus. First name basis now. Something had shifted, something neither of them had planned. Marcus finished his beer and went to bed. He had no idea that 200 yards down the beach, hidden behind a cabana, David Morrison had watched the entire thing. Monday morning. You're a dead man, Chen. And now Marcus understood why. David had seen them. The beach, the sand castle, maybe even the texts. How much did he know? How much could he prove? Chen. Sarah's voice cut through his panic. Ms. Lawson wants to see you, now. Marcus walked toward Diana's office on legs that felt like jelly. Through the glass walls he could see her sitting behind her desk, her face unreadable. He knocked. Close the door. He closed it. Sit. He sat. Diana was quiet for a long moment. Then, David Morrison came to see me this morning. Marcus's stomach dropped. He told me an interesting story. About Saturday. About what he saw at the beach. Diana, I can explain. He told me that you were inappropriate with me. That you were staring at me. That you followed me across the beach and forced yourself into my company. That's not... He recommended that I fire you immediately. Marcus felt the world tilt sideways. And then? Diana continued, her voice cold. He suggested that if I didn't fire you, perhaps there was a reason. Perhaps something was going on between us that the board should know about. He's lying. He's twisting everything. I know. Marcus stopped. What? Diana stood and walked to the window. I know he's lying. I was there. I know exactly what happened. She turned to face him. David Morrison has been after my job for 3 years. He thought the Henderson project was his ticket to the top. And now he thinks you're in his way. So what happens now? Now. Diana's lips curved into something dangerous. Now I promote you to lead architect on Henderson. I give you everything David wanted. And I make him watch you succeed. Marcus stared at her. That's not a good idea. Why not? Because he'll destroy me. He'll spread rumors. He'll tell everyone that we're what? The question hung in the air. I don't know, Marcus admitted. I don't know what we are. Diana was silent. Then slowly she walked toward him. Neither do I, she said quietly. But I know what we're not. We're not inappropriate. We're not a scandal. We're two people who met on a beach by accident and discovered something unexpected. And what's that? That maybe we're not as alone as we thought. She was close now, close enough that he could smell her perfume, close enough that he could see the vulnerability she was trying so hard to hide. David will make our lives hell, Marcus said. Let him try. He'll go to the board. With what a story about wind and sand castles. Diana shook her head. He has nothing, and by the time he figures that out, you'll have delivered the best project this company has ever seen. You have a lot of faith in me. I have faith in talent, and you, Marcus Chen, have more talent than anyone in this building. She paused. Including David Morrison. Including me. The words hit him like a wave. The meeting starts in 10 minutes, Diana said, stepping back, the professional mask sliding back into place. I suggest you prepare. Yes, ma'am. He turned to leave. Marcus. He looked back. Whatever this is between us, we figure it out later. After Henderson. After we've proven to everyone, including ourselves, that this promotion was earned. Agreed? Agreed. He walked out of her office and nearly collided with David Morrison, who was standing just outside the door. Enjoy it while it lasts, David said quietly. Whatever she promised you, it won't save you. Marcus looked him dead in the eye. We'll see. He walked back to his desk, his heart pounding, his mind racing. The war had just begun, and he had no idea which side would win. The Henderson meeting lasted 3 hours. Marcus walked out with sweat stains under his arms and a stack of notes that looked like they'd been written by a madman. Diana had thrown him into the deep end without a life jacket, and somehow impossibly he'd managed to swim. Not bad, Chen. He turned. Diana was standing behind him, her arms crossed, her expression unreadable. Not bad, he repeated. I thought Richardson was going to murder me when I suggested scrapping his original foundation design. He was. But then you showed him why his design would fail in 10 years, and suddenly you were his new best friend. I was terrified. I know. I could see your hands shaking. Diana's lips curved slightly. But you didn't let it stop you. That's what separates good architects from great ones. Marcus didn't know what to say. 4 years of working for this woman, and this was the first time she'd ever complimented him directly. Thank you, he managed. Don't thank me. Thank yourself. You earned it. She walked past him toward her office, then paused. Oh, and Marcus. Yes. David Morrison requested a meeting with me this afternoon. Something about concerns regarding project leadership. I thought you should know. Marcus felt his stomach clench. What are you going to tell him? The truth. That you're the lead architect now, and if he has a problem with that, he can find another firm. Diana, you can't. I can do whatever I want. It's my company. She turned to face him. David Morrison has been coasting on his seniority for years. He takes credit for other people's work. He undermines anyone he sees as a threat, and he treats the junior staff like servants. I've tolerated it because he brings in clients, but I'm done tolerating. He'll make your life hell. He can try. Diana's eyes were cold. I've survived worse than David Morrison. She disappeared into her office, leaving Marcus standing in the hallway with 100 questions and no answers. The next 3 weeks were the hardest of Marcus's life. Every morning he woke at 5 to review plans before Emma got up. Every night he stayed at the office until 7, then rushed home to make dinner, help with homework, read bedtime stories. Every weekend he brought work home, spreading blueprints across the kitchen table while Emma played beside him. Daddy, you're always working. I know, sweetheart. I'm sorry. Is the mean lady making you? Marcus looked up from his laptop. Emma was sitting on the floor, surrounded by crayons and paper, drawing something that looked like a castle. Diana isn't mean, he said carefully. She just expects a lot from people. Why? Because she expects a lot from herself. Emma considered this. That sounds tired. It is, sweetheart. It really is. The phone rang. Marcus glanced at the screen. Diana Lawson. Hey, Em, can you give Daddy a minute? Emma nodded and went back to her drawing. Marcus answered. Hello? Are you still working? Always. It's 9 o'clock on a Saturday night. I'm aware. A pause. You should be resting. So should you. Why are you calling? Another pause longer this time. I don't know. I was reviewing the Henderson specs, and I saw your name on the file and I just... She trailed off. I don't know. Marcus leaned back in his chair. Diana Lawson, are you lonely? Don't be ridiculous. That's not a no. It's not a yes either. It's definitely not a no. He heard her exhale. Maybe, a little. My sister went back to New York, and the apartment is quiet, and I thought... She stopped. This is inappropriate. I shouldn't have called. I'm glad you did. You are? Yeah, I am. Silence. Then quietly. What are you doing right now? Reviewing the structural analysis for the Henderson East Wing while my daughter draws castles on the floor beside me. That sounds nice. It is nice, even when it's exhausting. Does she ever ask about her mother? The question caught Marcus off guard. Sometimes. Less than she used to. What do you tell her? The truth. That her mother loved her but wasn't able to stay. That sometimes people have to leave and it's not anyone's fault. Do you believe that? Marcus looked at Emma, still absorbed in her drawing, her small tongue poking out in concentration. I believe that Rebecca was broken in ways I couldn't fix. I believe she did what she thought was best, even if it hurt. And I believe that Emma deserves to grow up without hating her mother. You're a good father. I try. No, you are. I watch you, you know, at the office. The way you check your phone when you think no one's looking. The way you schedule meetings around school pickups. The way you bring her drawings to your desk and pretend you're not looking at them when you're stressed. Marcus's throat tightened. You notice all that. I notice everything. A pause. It's a curse, honestly. Diana. I should go. This was... I don't know what this was. This was two lonely people talking on a Saturday night. Nothing wrong with that. Everything's wrong with that. You work for me. I know. This can't happen. I know. Then why does it feel like it's already happening? Marcus didn't have an answer. Neither did she. Good night, Marcus. Good night, Diana. She hung up. Marcus stared at his phone for a long moment. Daddy? He looked down. Emma was holding up her drawing. I made this for the sad lady. It was a picture of three people on a beach, a tall man, a small girl, and a woman with dark hair standing beside them. Above them, Emma had drawn a sun with a smiley face. It's beautiful, Em. Will you give it to her? I don't know if that's a good idea. Why not? Because giving your boss a drawing from your daughter is crossing a line. Because David Morrison is looking for any excuse to destroy you. Because you're already in too deep and you know it. I'll think about it, Marcus said. Promise? Promise. Monday morning came too fast. Marcus walked into the office with Emma's drawing tucked inside his briefcase, telling himself he'd probably never show it to anyone. It was just a drawing, just a child's crayon sketch of a moment that probably meant nothing. He made it halfway to his desk before David Morrison stepped into his path. Chen, a word. I'm busy, David. Make time. David's voice was loud enough to draw attention. Several designers looked up from their computers. Sarah raised her eyebrows from the reception desk. Fine, Marcus said. Talk. David smiled. That cold, calculated smile that made Marcus's skin crawl. I had an interesting conversation with Tom Richardson this weekend. Good for you. He told me about the Henderson meeting, how you suggested scrapping his foundation design, how Diana backed you up, how you basically humiliated him in front of the entire team. I didn't humiliate anyone. I pointed out a structural flaw that would have cost millions to fix down the line. That's not how Tom sees it. Then Tom needs to grow up. David's smile widened. Tom is on the board of directors. He plays golf with half the investors. And right now, He's very unhappy with the direction this project is taking. Marcus felt a chill run down his spine. What are you saying? I'm saying that board members talk, and when they talk, they ask questions. Questions like why Diana Lawson suddenly promoted a mid-level architect to lead a $40 million project. Questions like what exactly is going on between our CEO and her new favorite employee. Nothing is going on. Then why was she at the beach with you 3 weeks ago? That was a coincidence. Was it? Because I saw you, Marcus. I saw you talking. I saw your daughter with her. I saw the way she looked at you. David leaned closer. I know there's something there, and I'm going to prove it. You're delusional. Am I? We'll see. David stepped back. Enjoy your project while it lasts, Chen. It won't last long. He walked away, leaving Marcus standing in the middle of the office with fear crawling up his throat. This wasn't just professional rivalry anymore. This was war. Marcus spent the rest of the morning trying to focus on work, but his mind kept drifting to David's threat. Tom Richardson. The board. Questions about his relationship with Diana. What relationship they'd had, one conversation on the beach and one phone call on a Saturday night. That wasn't a relationship. That was... He didn't know what that was. You look like someone ran over your dog. Marcus looked up. Sarah was standing at his desk, holding 2 cups of coffee. I don't have a dog. Then you look like someone ran over your hypothetical dog. She set 1 cup in front of him. Drink. Talk. Not necessarily in that order. Marcus took the coffee. David Morrison is trying to destroy me. David Morrison tries to destroy everyone. It's like his hobby. This is different. He saw me with Diana at the beach. Sarah's eyebrows shot up. With Diana, as in with Diana? Not like that. It was an accident. We ran into each other. My daughter was there. And David saw this. Apparently. Sarah let out a low whistle. That's not good. I know. Diana won't let him win, though. She hates David almost as much as David hates her. That doesn't help if the board starts asking questions. The board loves Diana. She's made them all rich. The board loves money. And if they think there's a scandal brewing, they'll throw Diana under the bus to protect themselves. Sarah was quiet for a moment. Then, is there a scandal, I mean? Marcus thought about the phone call Saturday night. The way Diana's voice had sounded. The things she'd said. The things he'd wanted to say but didn't. No, he said. There's nothing. It wasn't quite a lie. But it wasn't quite the truth either. That evening, Marcus stayed late to finish a set of drawings. By 7 o'clock, the office was empty except for him and the cleaning crew. And Diana. He saw her light on as he gathered his things. Saw her silhouette through the glass walls of her office, hunched over her desk alone. He should leave. He should go home to Emma. He should keep his distance. Maintain the professional boundary, protect himself and his job and his family. He walked to her office instead. He knocked on the open door. Diana looked up. For a moment, she seemed surprised to see him. Then her expression shifted into something more guarded. You're still here. So are you. I own the company. I'm supposed to be here. That's a terrible reason. Diana's lips twitched, almost a smile. What do you want, Marcus? He reached into his briefcase and pulled out Emma's drawing. My daughter made this. She wanted you to have it. Diana stared at the paper in his hand. She didn't take it. She drew it Saturday night, Marcus continued. After I got off the phone with you. She said it was for the sad lady. Something flickered in Diana's eyes. Pain, maybe. Or surprise. Or both. She thinks I'm sad. She's 6. She sees things adults miss. Diana finally took the drawing. She looked at it for a long moment. The 3 figures on the beach, the smiling sun. the crude but unmistakable representation of herself standing beside Marcus and Emma. "This is—" She stopped, swallowed. "This is the nicest thing anyone has given me in a very long time." Emma has that effect on people. It's not just Emma. Diana looked up at him. "David Morrison came to see me today." "I know. He found me first. He told me he's going to the board. He said he has evidence of an inappropriate relationship between us." Marcus's blood went cold. There is no inappropriate relationship. "I know that. You know that. But the board doesn't know that. And David is very good at making people believe what he wants them to believe. So what do we do?" Diana set the drawing down on her desk. "We do nothing. I handle David. You focus on Henderson." "Diana." "This isn't a discussion, Marcus. This is me protecting my company and my employees, including you." "What about protecting yourself?" The question seemed to catch her off guard. "What do you mean?" "I mean you're in here alone at 7 o'clock on a Monday night. Your sister is in New York. Your apartment is empty. And the only thing waiting for you is more work." Marcus took a breath. Emma was right. You are sad. And I don't think you have to be. Diana's expression hardened. "You don't know anything about my life. I know you haven't taken a vacation in 3 years. I know you eat lunch at your desk every day. I know you don't have a single personal photo anywhere in this office." Marcus gestured around. "I know that you built an empire, and somewhere along the way you forgot to build a life. That's none of your business." "You're right. It's not." "Then why are you saying it?" "Because someone should. Because you deserve to hear it. Because my daughter drew you into her picture of our family, and that means something." Diana was quiet. Her jaw was tight. Her hands were clasped so hard her knuckles had turned white. "I think you should leave," she said finally. "Diana. Now Marcus. Please." He didn't argue. He turned and walked toward the door. "Marcus." He stopped. "The drawing. Can I keep it?" He looked back. Diana was holding Emma's picture, like it was made of glass. "It was always yours," he said. He left. The drive home was a blur. Marcus's mind kept replaying the conversation, searching for where he'd gone wrong, what he should have said differently. He'd pushed too hard, been too honest. Crossed a line he couldn't uncross. When he walked through the door, Mrs. Patterson was waiting. "She's asleep. Went down about an hour ago. Said she missed you." "Thank you, Margaret." "Long day." Something like that. Mrs. Patterson gathered her things, pausing at the door. "You're a good man, Marcus. Don't let those corporate types make you forget that." "I'll try." After she left, Marcus went to Emma's room. She was curled up under her blankets, one arm wrapped around a stuffed elephant, her face peaceful in sleep. He sat on the edge of her bed and brushed the hair from her forehead. "I don't know what I'm doing, Em," he whispered. "I think I'm in over my head." Emma stirred but didn't wake. Marcus kissed her forehead and went to the kitchen. He poured himself a drink he didn't really want and sat at the table where Henderson blueprints still lay scattered from the weekend. His phone buzzed. Unknown number. But he knew who it was. "I'm sorry about earlier. I shouldn't have told you to leave." Marcus stared at the message. "You had every right to. I overstepped." "Did you, or did you just say what no one else has the courage to say?" "Both, probably." A long pause. Then, "I hung the drawing on my wall, behind my desk, where no one else can see it." Marcus's chest tightened. "Why there?" "Because it's mine, and I don't want to share it." He didn't know what to say to that, so he said the only thing that felt true. "She drew you as part of our family. That's how she sees you." "How do you see me?" The question hit him like a punch. "I see someone who's been alone for too long. Someone who built walls so high she forgot there were people on the other side. Someone who deserves more than an empty apartment and a company that can't love her back. No response. Minutes passed. Marcus thought he'd gone too far again, that he'd pushed her away for good this time. Then, David's meeting with the board is Thursday. He's going to try to have me removed as CEO. Marcus's heart stopped. Can he do that? If he has enough votes, yes. And Tom Richardson is already on his side. Diana, what can I do? Nothing. This is my fight. Let me help. You can help by delivering Henderson, on time, under budget, perfectly. That's the only thing that will convince the board I'm still the right person to lead this company. And if that's not enough... A pause. Then I lose everything. Marcus wanted to drive to her apartment. He wanted to hold her. He wanted to tell her that everything would be okay, even if he didn't know if it would be. Instead, he typed, "You won't lose, not while I'm here." That's a big promise. I know. Why would you make it? Because of the beach. Because of the sand castle. Because of the way you looked at my daughter. Because of the sadness in your eyes that Emma saw before anyone else. Because somewhere in the past 3 weeks you stopped being my boss and started being something I can't name yet. Because some things are worth fighting for, he wrote, even when you don't know how it ends. The response came quickly. Good night, Marcus. Good night, Diana. Thursday was 4 days away. 4 days to save a project. 4 days to save a career. 4 days to save whatever was growing between them. Marcus looked at the Henderson blueprints spread across his table. He had work to do. Marcus didn't sleep that night. He sat at his kitchen table until 3 in the morning, reviewing every detail of the Henderson project. Foundation specs, structural calculations, material costs, timeline projections. If Diana was going to survive Thursday's board meeting, he needed to give her ammunition. Real, undeniable, impossible to argue with ammunition. By Tuesday morning, he had a plan. He dropped Emma at Mrs. Patterson's house at 6, arrived at the office by 6:30, and was waiting at Sarah's desk when she walked in at 7. "You look terrible," she said. "Thanks. I need your help." "With what?" "Everything you know about Tom Richardson. His investments, his connections, his history with Diana. Everything." Sarah's eyes widened. "Why?" "Because David Morrison is using him to take down Diana, and I'm not going to let that happen." Sarah studied him for a long moment. "You really care about her, don't you?" "I care about this company." "That's not what I asked." Marcus met her eyes. "Can you help me or not?" Sarah sighed. Tom Richardson has been on the board for 8 years. He was Diana's father's best friend before the company went public. When Diana took over, Tom expected to be named chairman. Diana chose someone else. So he's had a grudge for years. A grudge is putting it mildly. He's been waiting for Diana to fail ever since, and David knows it. What else? Tom's wife died 2 years ago. Cancer. He threw himself into the company after that, started questioning every decision Diana made, started building alliances with other board members who were unhappy with her leadership style. Her leadership style. Diana doesn't play politics. She doesn't do dinners and golf games and schmoozing. She just works. Some board members respect that. Others think she's cold and unapproachable. She's not cold, she's just lonely. Sarah finished. Yeah, I know, we all know. But knowing and doing something about it are 2 different things. Marcus rubbed his temples. Okay, what about the other board members who's likely to side with David? Besides Tom, maybe 2 or 3, but the majority still supports Diana. As long as the company keeps making money, they don't care who's in charge. So if Henderson succeeds, Diana keeps her job. If it fails, David gets exactly what he wants. Sarah nodded. Welcome to corporate warfare. Marcus spent the rest of Tuesday buried in work. He revised the Henderson presentation 3 times. He called contractors to confirm timelines. He ran cost analyses until the numbers blurred in front of his eyes. At 4 o'clock, his phone rang. Diana. He answered immediately. Hello? Where are you? My desk. Working on Henderson. I need you in my office. Now. The line went dead. Marcus walked to Diana's office with dread pooling in his stomach. Through the glass walls, he could see her pacing her phone pressed to her ear, her free hand gesturing angrily. He knocked. She waved him in without pausing her conversation. I don't care what he told you, she was saying. That's a lie and you know it. No, I won't calm down. My reputation is being destroyed by a man who can't handle being passed over for a promotion? Fine. Thursday. I'll be there. She hung up and threw her phone onto the desk. That was the board chairman, she said. David has officially filed a complaint. Inappropriate conduct with a subordinate. Misuse of company resources. Favoritism in project assignments. Marcus felt sick. None of that is true. It doesn't matter if it's true. It matters if they believe it. Diana sank into her chair. Tom Richardson has been calling every board member personally. He's telling them there are photos, evidence of our relationship. What photos? There are no photos. David was at the beach, Marcus. He saw us together. He could have taken pictures. Of what, your daughter building a sandcastle, us talking? That's not evidence of anything. It's enough to raise questions, and in corporate politics, questions are just as dangerous as answers. Marcus stepped closer to her desk. What can I do? You can stay away from me. The words hit him like a slap. What? Diana wouldn't meet his eyes. Until Thursday is over, we can't be seen together. No meetings alone, no late nights, no phone calls, nothing that David can use against us. Diana. I mean it, Marcus. If we're going to survive this, we have to give them nothing to work with. And what about the Henderson presentation? Send me your updates by email. I'll review them from home. Marcus shook his head. This is insane. We haven't done anything wrong. I know. Diana finally looked at him, and for the first time he saw fear in her eyes. Real, raw fear. But that doesn't matter. What matters is perception. And right now the perception is that I promoted you because I'm sleeping with you. Then let me defend you. Let me talk to the board. Let me tell them. Tell them what? That you accidentally saw me topless at the beach, and we've been texting ever since. Diana laughed bitterly. That's not a defense, Marcus. That's a confession. So we just pretend nothing happened. We go back to being strangers. We go back to being professional, boss and employee, nothing more. Marcus stood there feeling something break inside him, something he hadn't even realized he'd been building. Is that what you want? He asked quietly. Diana was silent for a long moment. When she spoke, her voice was barely a whisper. It doesn't matter what I want. It never has. He left her office without another word. The next 2 days were agony. Marcus threw himself into work with a desperation that bordered on obsession. He arrived before anyone else and left after everyone had gone. He ate lunch at his desk. He avoided the break room, the water cooler, any place where he might run into Diana. She had been right about one thing: people were watching. He could feel their eyes on him whenever he walked through the office. Could hear the whispers that stopped whenever he got close. Did you hear about Chen and the boss? David says he has proof. No wonder he got the Henderson project. I always thought there was something going on. Marcus ignored it all. He had a presentation to finish, a company to save, a woman to protect, even if she wouldn't let him do it directly. Wednesday night, he was still at his desk at 9 o'clock when Emma called. Daddy? Her voice sounded strange, small and weak. Hey, sweetheart, what's wrong? My tummy hurts. Did you eat something bad? No, it just hurts. And I'm hot. Marcus's heart clenched. Hot, like you have a fever. Mrs. Patterson took my temperature. She said it's 102. Marcus was already grabbing his jacket. I'm coming home right now. Tell Mrs. Patterson I'll be there in 20 minutes. Daddy. Yeah, baby. I'm scared. I know, sweetheart. I know, but I'm coming. I'll be there soon. He hung up and rushed toward the elevator, nearly colliding with David Morrison in the hallway. Leaving early, David smirked. That's not very dedicated. My daughter is sick. Ah, the single dad excuse. How convenient. Marcus stopped. Every muscle in his body wanted to punch David's smug face into the wall. But he couldn't. Not now. Not with everything on the line. Get out of my way, he said quietly. Or what you'll tell Diana. Oh wait, you're not supposed to talk to Diana anymore, are you? David's smile widened. Everyone knows, Chen. Everyone knows why you really got that promotion. You're pathetic. I'm pathetic. I'm not the one who had to sleep my way to a project lead. I never touched her. Sure you didn't. That's why she promoted you over architects with twice your experience. That's why she's been protecting you ever since. That's why she hung a picture in her office that your kid drew. David laughed. You think people don't see? You think I don't have witnesses? Marcus's blood went cold. How do you know about the picture? I have friends in this building, Chen. Friends who tell me things. Friends who are sick of watching Diana Lawson play favorites while the rest of us do the actual work. You don't know anything about Diana. I know she's finished. Tomorrow's board meeting is going to destroy her. And you're going down with her. Marcus wanted to argue, wanted to fight, but his phone buzzed again. Mrs. Patterson. She's getting worse. Throwing up now. Should I call 911? I don't have time for this, Marcus said, pushing past David. My daughter needs me. Run away, Chen. That's what you're good at. Marcus didn't look back. He drove home in record time, running 2 red lights and nearly sideswiping a delivery truck. When he burst through the front door, Mrs. Patterson was in the bathroom with Emma, holding her hair back as she vomited into the toilet. How bad? Marcus asked, dropping to his knees beside his daughter. The fever went up to 103. I gave her children's Tylenol, but it's not breaking. Emma looked up at her father with glassy eyes. Daddy, I don't feel good. I know, baby, I know. He scooped her up and carried her to the car. Mrs. Patterson followed with a bag of extra clothes and a worried expression. Call me when you know something. I will. Thank you, Margaret, for everything. The emergency room was chaos. A Tuesday night in Miami meant car accidents, overdoses, and a waiting room full of people who looked worse than Emma. Marcus carried his daughter to the front desk and explained the situation to a nurse who barely glanced up from her computer. Take a number. We'll call you when there's a room available. Her fever is 103. Sir, there are people here with fevers of 105. Take a number. Marcus wanted to scream, wanted to throw something. But Emma was trembling in his arms, so he took the number and found a seat in the corner of the waiting room. Daddy, when can we go home? Soon, sweetheart. They're going to make you feel better, and then we'll go home. Promise. Promise. His phone buzzed. Email notification. Diana Lawson. The board meeting has been moved up. Tomorrow at 8 a.m. instead of 2 p.m. Tom Richardson's request. I need the final Henderson presentation by 6 a.m. Marcus stared at the message. 6 in the morning. That was 8 hours away. He hadn't finished the financial projections. He hadn't finalized the timeline charts. He was sitting in an emergency room with a sick child and a presentation that could save or destroy everything. He looked at Emma, her small body curled against his chest. He looked at his phone. For a long moment, he didn't move. Then he typed, I'll have it to you by 6. He spent the next 4 hours in the emergency room working on his laptop with one hand while holding Emma with the other. She was eventually seen by a doctor who diagnosed her with a stomach virus. Nothing serious, just fluids and rest and time. By 1 in the morning, they were back home. Emma was asleep in her bed, her fever finally breaking. Marcus sat at his kitchen table with coffee he didn't taste, and numbers that refused to make sense. 3 hours until deadline. 2 presentations still unfinished. 1 daughter who might wake up needing him at any moment. He worked until his eyes burned, until his fingers cramped, until the numbers started to swim and he couldn't tell if he was making progress or just moving words around. At 4:30, his phone rang. "Diana, you should be sleeping," she said. "So should you. I saw your email. The presentation is almost done. Almost. I'm finishing the last section now." "Marcus." She paused. "Sarah told me about Emma, about the emergency room. She's okay. Just a virus. You didn't have to do this. You could have told me you needed more time. And give David another excuse to attack you. No. I made a promise. A promise to save my company. A promise to you." Silence. Then softly, "Why? You know why. I need to hear you say it." Marcus leaned back in his chair. He was exhausted, wrung out, too tired to lie. "Because 3 weeks ago my daughter saw something in you that I'd missed. She saw someone who needed to be seen, someone who'd been invisible for so long she'd forgotten what it felt like to matter to anyone." "Marcus, I see you now, Diana. I see the woman behind the company, and I'm not going to let David Morrison or Tom Richardson or anyone else destroy her." He heard her breath catch. "The board meeting is in 3 hours, she said quietly. "I know. Whatever happens today, I need you to know something." "What?" "That picture Emma drew, the one of the 3 of us on the beach." Diana's voice wavered. "It's the first time in 15 years that anyone made me feel like I could be part of something, part of a family, even if it was just a drawing." "It wasn't just a drawing." "No, it wasn't." "Diana, after today. Let's get through today first, then we can talk about after." "Okay. Send me the presentation when it's done." "I will." "And Marcus." "Yeah. Thank you for everything." She hung up. Marcus finished the presentation at 5:47. He sent it to Diana at 5:52. Then he went to check on Emma, found her still sleeping peacefully, and collapsed on the couch with his phone in his hand. He was asleep within seconds. He woke to the sound of his phone ringing. Sarah. He grabbed it. "Hello? Where are you?" "The meeting started 20 minutes ago." Marcus looked at his watch. 8:22. "I overslept. Emma was sick. I was up all night. Get here now. It's bad, Marcus. It's really bad." He was out the door in 3 minutes. Mrs. Patterson answered on the second ring, agreed to come over immediately, and told him to drive safely. He broke every speed limit between his house and the office. The boardroom was on the top floor. When Marcus arrived, the meeting was already in progress. Through the glass walls, he could see Diana standing at the head of the table, facing a row of stern-faced board members. David Morrison was seated at Tom Richardson's right hand, a satisfied smirk on his face. Marcus pushed through the door. Every head turned. "Mr. Chen," Tom Richardson said coldly, "this is a closed meeting. I have a right to be here. My name is on this complaint. Your name is on this complaint because you're part of the problem. I'm not part of any problem, and neither is Diana." David stood. "You see, this is exactly what I've been talking about. He doesn't even call her Ms. Lawson. It's Diana. First name basis with the CEO. Because she asked me to call her that." "Oh, I'm sure she did. I'm sure she asked you to do a lot of things." "David." Diana's voice cut through the room like a blade. "That's enough. Is it because I have statements from 3 employees who saw you 2 together at the beach? I have phone records showing late-night calls between your personal numbers. I have evidence that you promoted him over more qualified candidates just weeks after your little rendezvous. The promotion was based on merit. The promotion was based on whatever happened in your bedroom." Marcus moved before he could stop himself. His fist connected with David's jaw, sending him stumbling backward into the table. The room erupted. Board members shouted. Security was called. David was on the floor, hand pressed to his face, blood dripping from his split lip. "You're finished," David spat. "You're both finished." "Mr. Chen." Tom Richardson's voice was ice. "You've just assaulted a colleague in front of the entire board. I'm calling the police." "Call whoever you want." Marcus was shaking with rage. "But before you do, let me tell you something about your precious David Morrison." "Marcus, don't," Diana started. "He's been embezzling funds from the Peterson project for 2 years. He's been padding invoices, skimming contractor payments, and hiding the money in offshore accounts. I found the discrepancies last night when I was reviewing old financial records for the Henderson presentation." The room went silent. David's face went white. "That's a lie," he said. "Is it?" Marcus pulled out his phone, scrolling to the files he'd saved. "Because I have the receipts. Every falsified invoice, every suspicious transfer, every dollar you stole from this company while pointing fingers at everyone else." Tom Richardson snatched the phone from Marcus's hand, scrolling through the documents. His expression shifted from skepticism to shock to fury. "David, what is this? It's fabricated. He made it up to protect her." "These are company records, with your signature, your authorization codes." "I was framed. You were caught." Diana's voice was steady, now controlled. "I suspected for months, but I couldn't prove it. Until now." She turned to the board. "You wanted evidence of wrongdoing at this company? There it is. Not an affair, not favoritism, theft, by a man who accused me of corruption to cover his own crimes." The board members exchanged glances. Tom Richardson looked at David like he was seeing him for the first time. "David," he said slowly, "is any of this true?" David's face crumbled. The mask slipped. And in that moment, everyone in the room saw him for what he really was, a desperate man whose lies had finally caught up with him. "I want my lawyer," he said. Security arrived 30 seconds later. They watched in silence as David Morrison was escorted from the building. Tom Richardson cleared his throat. "Ms. Lawson, it appears I owe you an apology." "You owe me more than that," Diana said. "But we can discuss it later. Right now, I have a company to run." The board members filed out, murmuring among themselves. Tom Richardson lingered, his eyes on Diana. "Your father would be proud of you," he said quietly. "My father would have fired David years ago. I was too soft." "You were thorough. There's a difference." He left. Diana and Marcus stood alone in the empty boardroom. "You punched him," Diana said. "He deserved it." "You could have been arrested." "Worth it." Diana laughed. Actually laughed. The sound was surprising and beautiful, and everything Marcus didn't know he needed to hear. "You found the embezzlement records." "By accident. I was looking for something else and stumbled across the discrepancies. I didn't have time to tell you before the meeting." "You saved my company." "I saved us." Diana stepped closer to him, close enough that he could see the tears she was fighting to hold back. "My daughter is sick," Marcus said. "She's at home with a fever. I should be there with her." "Then go." "I don't want to go." "Marcus, I spent all night working to save your company. I punched a man in front of your board of directors. I'm running on 2 hours of sleep and enough coffee to kill a horse." He took her hand. "I think we're past pretending this is just professional." Diana looked at their joined hands, at him, at the empty boardroom where her future had nearly ended. "Come over tonight," she said. "After Emma's feeling better. Bring her if you want. I'll make dinner." "You cook?" "No, but I can order very expensive takeout." Marcus smiled, the first real smile in days. "I'd like that." "Me too." His phone buzzed. "Mrs. Patterson." "Emma's awake, asking for you. Fever's down." "I have to go," Marcus said. "I know." He squeezed her hand once, then let go. He was halfway to the door when Diana's voice stopped him. "Marcus." He turned. "Tell Emma thank you, for the drawing, for seeing me when no one else did." "Tell her yourself, tonight." Diana smiled, a real smile. the kind that transformed her whole face. "Tonight," she agreed. Marcus walked out of that boardroom feeling like he was walking into a new life. One he hadn't planned, one he couldn't have imagined, but one that felt for the first time in years like exactly where he was supposed to be. Emma was sitting up in bed when Marcus walked through the door, a half-eaten bowl of soup on her nightstand and cartoons playing quietly on the small TV in her room. "Daddy!" She reached for him, and Marcus crossed the room in 3 steps, scooping her into his arms and holding her tight. "How do you feel, sweetheart?" "Better. Mrs. Patterson made me chicken soup, the good kind with the little stars." "That was nice of her." "She said you had an important meeting. Did you win?" Marcus laughed despite his exhaustion. "Yeah, baby, I think we did." "Good." Emma pulled back to look at him. "You look tired." "I am tired." "Then you should take a nap. That's what Mrs. Patterson said when I was tired." "Maybe later. Right now I just want to be with you." He sat on the edge of her bed and Emma curled against him like she used to when she was smaller. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. "Daddy." "Yeah." "Is the sad lady okay?" Marcus's heart clenched. Even now, even sick Emma was thinking about Diana. "She's okay. Actually, she wants to see you tonight. She's going to come over for dinner." Emma sat up so fast she almost headbutted Marcus's chin. "Really? She's coming here to our house? If you're feeling well enough." "I feel great. I feel amazing. I feel like I could run 100 miles. "Let's start with sitting up without getting dizzy." Emma demonstrated by bouncing on the bed. "See, not dizzy at all." Okay, but you have to rest this afternoon. Deal." "Deal." Marcus kissed her forehead and went to find Mrs. Patterson. She was in the kitchen washing dishes. "Thank you for everything, Margaret. I don't know what I would have done." "You would have figured it out, you always do." She dried her hands on a towel. "But you're welcome. That little girl is a treasure." "I know." "And that woman you've been seeing, the one Sarah mentioned." Marcus blinked. "Sarah told you about Diana?" "Sarah tells me everything. We've been friends for 30 years. Mrs. Patterson fixed him with a knowing look. "Is she good for you?" "I think so. I hope so." "Then bring her around. Let me meet her. See if she passes inspection." "Margaret." "I'm old Marcus. I don't have time for nonsense. If this woman matters to you, she matters to me. And if she hurts you or that little girl, I'll make her regret it." Marcus smiled. "I'll let her know." "Good. Now go shower. You smell like an emergency room." The afternoon passed slowly. Marcus cleaned the house, really cleaned it, not just the surface tidying he usually did. He vacuumed. He dusted. He scrubbed the bathroom until it sparkled and organized the cluttered pile of shoes by the front door. Emma watched from the couch wrapped in her favorite blanket. "Why are you cleaning so much?" "Because we have company coming." "But it's just Diana." "Exactly." Emma considered this. "Do you like her?" "She's my boss." "That's not what I asked." Marcus stopped mopping and looked at his daughter. 6 years old, and already she could see through him better than any adult. "Yeah, Em, I like her." "Like how you liked Mommy." The question hit Marcus like a truck. He set down the mop and walked over to the couch sitting beside his daughter. "What do you remember about Mommy?" "Not much, just the picture, and that she smells like flowers in my dreams sometimes." "Your mom and we loved each other once, but we weren't right for each other. Sometimes people love each other and still can't make it work." "Is Diana right for you?" "I don't know yet. We're still figuring that out." "But you want her to be—" Marcus took a breath. "Yeah, I think I do." Emma nodded solemnly. "Okay, then I'll help." "Help with what?" "Help make her like us, so she stays." "Emma, you don't have to." "I know, but I want to, because you're happy when you talk about her, and you haven't been happy in a long time." Marcus pulled his daughter close, burying his face in her hair so she wouldn't see the tears in his eyes. When did you get so smart? I was born smart. Mrs. Patterson says it's my superpower. She's right. Diana arrived at 7 o'clock. She was wearing jeans and a simple blouse, clothes Marcus had never seen her in before. In the office, she was always polished, professional, armored. Here, standing on his front porch with 2 bags of takeout and a nervous expression, she looked almost vulnerable. I didn't know what Emma liked, so I got a little of everything. Thai, Chinese, Italian. Some places deliver fast, and some places... Diana. What? You're rambling. She blinked. I don't ramble. You're rambling right now. I don't know what I'm doing. Diana shifted the bags in her hands. I've run a company for 15 years, but I have no idea how to do this. Do what? This. Dinner. With a man with someone who what? Diana looked at him. Really looked at him. Someone who matters. Before Marcus could respond, Emma appeared behind him. You came. Diana's face transformed. The nervousness melted away, replaced by something warm and genuine. I told you I would. Daddy said you were bringing food. What did you bring? I'm starving. Mrs. Patterson only let me have soup and crackers all day, and soup is boring. Don't tell her I said that. I brought everything. Are you feeling better? Much better. I only threw up twice today. Emma, Marcus groaned. What? She asked. Diana laughed. I appreciate the honesty. Can I come in? Emma grabbed her hand and pulled her inside. Come see my room. I cleaned it myself. Well, Daddy helped with the hard parts, but I did the rest. Marcus watched his daughter drag his boss down the hallway, chattering non-stop about her stuffed animals, and her drawings, and the sand dollar she'd found at the beach. The one you helped me find is on my shelf, Emma was saying. See? Right next to Mommy's picture. There was a pause. Then Diana's voice, quiet and gentle. She's very pretty. Daddy says I have her eyes. You do. They're beautiful eyes. Daddy says she loved me, but she couldn't stay. That must have been hard. Sometimes. But Daddy takes care of me. He's really good at it. Another pause. Are you going to stay? Marcus held his breath, waiting for the answer. I don't know, Diana said honestly. But I'd like to try. Okay, that's good enough for now. They emerged from Emma's room a few minutes later. Emma was showing Diana the drawing. She'd made a new one with more figures this time. That's Daddy, and that's me, and that's you, and that's Mrs. Patterson, and that's Sarah from Daddy's work, because she gives me candy when I visit, and that's a dog. You have a dog? No, but I want one. I'm working on Daddy. She's been working on me for 3 years, Marcus said. No luck yet. Dogs are a lot of responsibility, Diana offered. See? Marcus spread his hands. She agrees with me. But, Diana continued, they're also very good at making people happy, and sometimes happiness is worth the extra responsibility. Emma beamed. I like her. Me too, Marcus admitted. They ate dinner at the kitchen table, a chaotic spread of cartons and containers that Emma navigated with enthusiasm, sampling from each one and declaring her favorites with dramatic flair. This one is spicy. I don't like spicy. This one is good. This one tastes like feet. How do you know what feet taste like? Diana asked. I don't. But if feet had a taste, it would be that. Diana laughed so hard she nearly choked on her noodles. Marcus watched them together, his daughter and this woman who had terrified him for 4 years, and felt something shift in his chest. Something click into place. After dinner, Emma insisted on showing Diana her collection of shells, then her drawings, then the castle she was building with Legos, then the book she was reading, which required Diana to read 2 chapters aloud while Emma curled up beside her on the couch. By 8:30, Emma was asleep, her head in Diana's lap. She does this, Marcus said quietly. Just crashes. One minute she's running 100 miles an hour, the next she's out cold. She's incredible. I know. No, I mean... Diana looked down at the sleeping child, her expression unreadable. She's so open, so trusting. She met me 3 weeks ago, and she's already showing me her treasures and falling asleep in my lap like I've always been here. Kids are like that. They see people, not roles. I never learned how to do that. Do what? Trust. Let people in. My father used to say I was born with my walls already built. Diana stroked Emma's hair absently. After my mother died, I stopped letting anyone get close. It was easier that way. Safer. Is that why you never married? Never had kids of your own? Part of it. The other part is that I never met anyone worth letting in. She looked up at him. Until now. Marcus sat down on the couch, careful not to disturb Emma. Diana. You don't have to say anything. I know this is complicated. I know there are 100 reasons why this can't work. The company, the power dynamic, what people will say. I don't care what people say. You punched David Morrison in the face in front of the entire board. I think that was clear. He deserved it. He did. Diana smiled slightly. No one's ever defended me like that before. Not even my father. Your father sounds like he was a good man. He was, but he was also distant, focused on the company. He loved me and Melissa, but he didn't know how to show it. He worked 18-hour days and expected us to understand. Diana paused. I think I became him without realizing it. You're not him. How do you know? Because you're here. Because you came to my house with 3 kinds of takeout, because you didn't know what my daughter liked. Because you read her 2 chapters of a book about a magic treehouse without complaining once. Marcus reached over and took her hand. That's not someone who doesn't know how to love. That's someone who's been waiting for the right people to love. Diana's eyes glistened. I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to be part of a family. I've been alone for so long. Then learn. We'll teach you. What if I mess it up? You will, so will I. That's how it works. That doesn't sound very reassuring. It's not supposed to be reassuring. It's supposed to be real. Diana was quiet for a long moment. When she spoke, her voice was barely a whisper. I'm scared. Of what? Of wanting this. Of wanting you and Emma and this house and this life. Because I've never wanted anything this much, and I don't know what happens if I lose it. Marcus squeezed her hand. You know what Emma told me this afternoon? She said she was going to help make you like us, so you'd stay. Diana laughed softly. She doesn't need to try. I already like you. Then stay. Marcus, I'm not asking you to move in tomorrow. I'm not asking for promises or commitments or declarations. I'm just asking you to stay. Tonight. Have coffee in the morning. Let Emma make you pancakes. They'll be terrible by the way she's still learning. But she'll be so proud. I can't. You can. There's no board meeting tomorrow. No David Morrison waiting to ambush you. No crisis that needs your attention. He met her eyes. For once in your life, Diana, let someone take care of you. The silence stretched between them. Then slowly, Diana nodded. Okay. 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 I'll stay. Marcus let out a breath he didn't know he'd been holding. They carried Emma to bed together, Marcus lifting her, Diana pulling back the covers, both of them tucking her in like they'd been doing it for years. Good night, sweetheart, Marcus whispered. Good night, Daddy, Emma mumbled, then half asleep. Good night, Diana. Diana froze. Good night, Emma, she said softly. They stood in the doorway for a long moment, watching Emma sleep. Then Diana turned and walked back to the living room, and Marcus followed. That's the first time she's ever said goodnight to someone other than me, Marcus said. I know. She doesn't do that. Not with babysitters. Not with Mrs. Patterson. Not with anyone. I know. Diana sat on the couch and Marcus sat beside her. Close, but not touching, giving her space. My father died when I was 25, Diana said suddenly. Heart attack. No warning. One day he was there, the next, he was gone. I found him in his office, still sitting at his desk. Diana. I took over the company the next week. I had to. There was no one else. Melissa wanted nothing to do with the business, and the board was already circling like vultures ready to tear everything apart. Diana's voice was flat matter-of-fact, like she was reciting a quarterly report. I worked 20 hours a day for the first year. I slept at the office. I stopped eating regular meals. I pushed away everyone who tried to get close because I didn't have time for weakness. I didn't have time for grief. I had to be strong enough for everyone. You were 25 years old. Age doesn't matter when people are depending on you. It does. It should have. Someone should have taken care of you. There was no one. Diana finally looked at him. Don't you understand? There's never been anyone. Not since my mother died when I was 8. My father loved me, but he didn't know how to be there. Melissa had her own problems, and everyone else wanted something from me. Money, power, connections. No one ever just wanted me. Marcus moved closer, took her hand again. I want you. You don't know me. I know enough. I know you're brilliant and driven and terrifying in the best way. I know you built an empire from nothing and you did it alone. I know you're so scared of being vulnerable that you push everyone away before they can hurt you. I know you have walls so high you've forgotten there's a world on the other side. He paused. And I know that somewhere behind all that armor is a woman who just wants to be loved. A woman who deserves to be loved. Diana's tears spilled over. She didn't wipe them away. I don't know how to do this, she whispered. You already are. What if I hurt you? What if I hurt Emma? What if you don't? What if this is the best thing that ever happened to all of us? That's a lot of what ifs. Life is a lot of what ifs. The question is whether you're brave enough to find out. Diana was quiet for a long time. Marcus waited. He'd learned over these past few weeks that Diana needed space to process. That pushing her only made her retreat further. Finally, she spoke. When I was 8 years old, my mother used to read me stories before bed. Every night, no matter how tired she was. She'd sit on the edge of my bed and read until I fell asleep. Diana's voice cracked. After she died, I couldn't sleep. For weeks. My father tried to read to me, but it wasn't the same. Eventually, I just stopped sleeping well altogether. And you still don't. 3 or 4 hours a night if I'm lucky. My doctor says it's stress. I think it's just habit. I've been alone with my thoughts for so long, I don't know how to turn them off. Marcus stood up and held out his hand. Come on. Where are we going? My room. No, not like that. Just trust me. Diana took his hand and let him lead her down the hallway to his bedroom. It was simple, a queen bed, a dresser, a nightstand with a stack of books he kept meaning to read. Lie down, Marcus said. What? Lie down, on the bed. I'm going to read to you. Diana stared at him. You're going to what? Read to you, like your mother used to. Marcus, that's ridiculous probably, but you haven't slept well in 30 years, and I have a theory that maybe you just need someone to take care of you for once. He grabbed a book from the nightstand. It's the new John Grisham. Not exactly bedtime story material, but it's what I've got. Diana looked at the book, then at him, then at the bed. This is insane. I know. No one has ever done anything like this for me. I know. I'm probably going to lie there wide awake feeling awkward. Probably. And you're okay with that. I'm okay with trying. Diana took a breath. Then slowly she sat on the edge of the bed. Then she lay back against the pillows, looking up at him with an expression that was equal parts terrified and hopeful. Marcus sat in the chair beside the bed and opened the book. Chapter 1, he began. Diana closed her eyes. He read for 20 minutes before her breathing changed. 30 minutes before her body fully relaxed. 40 minutes before he realized she was asleep. Actually asleep. Deeply, peacefully asleep. Marcus set the book down and watched her for a moment. Without her armor, without her walls, she looked younger, softer. Like the woman she might have been if the world hadn't forced her to be so strong. He pulled the blanket over her and turned off the light. Then he went to the living room, grabbed a pillow from the couch, and settled in for the night. He was asleep within minutes. Marcus woke to the smell of coffee and the sound of giggling. He sat up confused and followed the sounds to the kitchen. What he found there stopped him cold. Diana was at the stove wearing one of his old t-shirts over her jeans, attempting to flip a pancake. Emma was beside her on a step stool covered in flour, giving instructions. No, you have to wait until the bubbles pop. See the bubbles, they have to pop first. They're not popping. That's because the heat is too low. Daddy always turns it up a little. Diana adjusted the dial. Like this. More. 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 The pancake went flying. It hit the ceiling, stuck for one glorious second, then fell directly onto Diana's head. Emma burst out laughing. Diana stood frozen pancake batter dripping down her face, looking absolutely horrified. Then she started laughing too. Marcus leaned against the doorframe watching them. Two people from completely different worlds covered in flour and batter and joy. You're supposed to catch it with the pan, Emma said between giggles. You didn't tell me that part. I thought everyone knew that. I don't cook, Emma. I've never cooked. I have people who cook for me. Well, your people aren't here, so you have to learn. Diana wiped batter from her eye. This is much harder than running a company. That's what Daddy says too. Marcus stepped into the kitchen. Need some help? Diana spun around, her face flushing red. How long have you been standing there? Long enough. I was trying to make breakfast. Emma said you liked pancakes, but I think I've made a mess instead. You definitely made a mess. Marcus took the spatula from her hand. But it's a good mess. The best messes always are. Emma tugged on Diana's shirt. Don't worry. Daddy will fix it. He's good at fixing things. Marcus looked at Diana, flour in her hair, batter on her face, wearing his shirt in his kitchen like she belonged there. Yeah, he said softly. I think I am. They ate breakfast together. The pancakes were uneven and slightly burned, but Emma declared them the best she'd ever had, and Diana looked so proud that Marcus didn't have the heart to disagree. Afterward, Emma went to watch cartoons, and Diana helped Marcus wash dishes. They worked in comfortable silence side by side at the sink. I slept for 8 hours, Diana said suddenly. I know. I checked on you a few times. 8 hours. I haven't slept 8 hours in... I can't remember how long. Maybe you just needed someone to read to you. Maybe I just needed you. Marcus dried his hands and turned to face her. What happens now? What do you mean? I mean the board meeting is over. David is gone. The Henderson project is saved. What happens with us? Diana set down the dish she was washing. I don't know. I've never done this before. Any of this. Neither have I. Not really. Not after Rebecca. What do you want to happen? Marcus thought about it. About the past 3 weeks. About the beach and the sandcastle and the late-night phone calls. About Emma's drawings and Diana's tears and the way she looked when she finally let her walls down. I want this, he said. Whatever this is. I want more mornings like this one. I want to read to you until you fall asleep. I want to watch Emma teach you how to make pancakes. I want to figure out what this is together. And the company, the power dynamic. What people will say. We figure it out. One day at a time. Diana was quiet. Then she reached up and touched his face. Her fingers were warm and slightly damp from the dishwater. "One day at a time," she repeated. "Is that a yes?" "It's a maybe, a very strong maybe." "I'll take it." She smiled. And then, before he could think about it, before he could talk himself out of it, Marcus leaned in and kissed her. It was soft, gentle, a question more than a statement. Diana answered by pulling him closer. When they finally broke apart, Emma was standing in the doorway with a grin that stretched from ear to ear. "I knew it," she said. "Emma, I knew you liked each other. I told Mrs. Patterson and she said I was probably right, and I was right." Emma bounced on her feet. "Does this mean Diana is going to be my new mom?" Marcus froze. Diana froze. "Sweetheart," Marcus started. "It's not that simple." "Why not?" "Because adults have to take things slow. We have to make sure. Make sure what you like her. She likes you. She makes good pancakes. Well, not good pancakes, but she tries. That's what matters." Diana knelt down to Emma's level. "Your daddy's right. This is complicated. There's a lot we need to figure out. But you want to figure it out?" "Yes, I do." "And you're going to stay." Diana looked up at Marcus, then back at Emma. "I'm going to try," she said. "Is that okay?" Emma threw her arms around Diana's neck. "That's perfect." Marcus watched them embrace his daughter and the woman he was falling in love with, and felt something in his chest finally settle. They still had a long way to go. There would be challenges, obstacles, complications neither of them could predict. But right now, in this moment, in this messy kitchen, filled with burned pancakes and spilled flour and more love than Marcus had felt in years, right now was enough. 6 months passed faster than Marcus thought possible. The Henderson project became the crown jewel of Lawson Design Studio. Every deadline met, every budget target hit, every stakeholder impressed. When the building broke ground in March, 3 major architecture magazines requested interviews. When the structural framework went up in May, Forbes ran a feature on Diana's leadership and the revolutionary approach that had transformed her company. They didn't mention Marcus by name. Diana insisted. "The spotlight will make you a target," she said one evening reviewing the interview transcripts at his kitchen table while Emma did homework beside them. "Trust me, I've lived in it for 15 years. It's not as glamorous as it looks. I don't want glamour. I just want credit for my work. You'll get credit, the right kind, from the people who matter." Diana reached over and squeezed his hand. Patience. Marcus was learning that patience meant something different to Diana than it did to most people. For Diana, patience was a strategy, a calculated move in a game she'd been playing since she was 25 years old. She didn't rush because rushing led to mistakes, and mistakes led to weakness, and weakness led to people like David Morrison circling like sharks. David Morrison. The name still made Marcus's jaw tighten. The embezzlement investigation had uncovered more than anyone expected. $2 million over 4 years, siphoned through fake vendors and phantom invoices. David had been arrested 3 weeks after the board meeting, released on bail, and promptly fled to a country without extradition treaties. Tom Richardson had personally apologized to Diana. Twice. The second time he'd brought flowers. "I underestimated you," he'd said. "Your father would be proud." Diana had accepted the flowers and said nothing. Later at Marcus's house, she'd thrown them in the trash. "He's not sorry," she said. "He's covering his ass." If David had succeeded, Tom would have been the first to celebrate. So why accept the apology? "Because I'm playing a long game, and in the long game, you don't make enemies you don't need." Marcus was learning that too. The long game, the patience, the strategy. He was also learning how to be part of something bigger than himself. Diana had dinner at his house 3 times a week now, sometimes 4. She kept a toothbrush in his bathroom and a change of clothes in his closet. Emma had started calling her Diana instead of the sad lady, and somewhere along the way that had shifted to Di, which Diana pretended to hate but secretly loved. "No one calls me Di." "I call you Di," Emma said. "You're 7. You can call me whatever you want." "Okay, Di." Diana rolled her eyes, but Marcus saw the smile she was trying to hide. They hadn't talked about the future. Not directly, not in concrete terms. There were too many variables, too many complications, too many ways it could all fall apart. But there were moments, small quiet moments, when Marcus let himself imagine what it might look like. Diana at Emma's soccer games. Diana at parent-teacher conferences. Diana at Christmas morning, watching Emma tear through wrapping paper with the kind of wild abandon that only children could muster. Diana staying. Forever. He didn't say it out loud. Neither did she. But it was there hanging between them like a promise neither of them was quite brave enough to make. Until Emma got sick again. It happened in June, 3 days before the Henderson ribbon-cutting ceremony. Emma woke up with a fever that wouldn't break, a cough that rattled her small chest, and eyes that were glassy and unfocused. "Daddy, I don't feel good." Marcus had her in the car within minutes. By the time they reached the hospital, her fever had spiked to 104, and the doctors were using words like pneumonia and observation and possible complications. Marcus called Diana from the waiting room, his hands shaking so badly he could barely hold the phone. "I'm coming," she said. "The ceremony is in 3 days. You have meetings. You have—" "I'm coming." She was there within the hour. Marcus was sitting in the corner of Emma's room watching his daughter sleep when Diana walked through the door. She didn't say anything. She just crossed the room, sat down beside him, and took his hand. They stayed like that for a long time. "The doctors say it's bacterial," Marcus finally said. "They caught it early. She should be fine in a few days." "Should be?" "The antibiotics need time to work. If her fever doesn't break by tomorrow, they might need to do more tests." Diana's grip on his hand tightened. "She's going to be okay. You don't know that. I know that little girl is the strongest person I've ever met. She survived losing her mother. She survived being raised by a workaholic architect who forgets to buy groceries. She survived teaching me how to make pancakes." Diana's voice cracked. "She's going to survive this." Marcus looked at her. Really looked at her. Diana's eyes were red. Her makeup was smudged. She was wearing yoga pants and an old Lawson design t-shirt, like she'd thrown on the first clothes she could find. "You've been crying," he said. "I don't cry." "Diana." She looked away. "On the drive here. A little. I thought about what you said about how you called me and said Emma was sick, and I couldn't breathe. I couldn't think. All I could think about was getting here. Being here. With you. With her. Diana. I love her, Marcus." The words came out raw, broken, like they'd been torn from somewhere deep inside her. "I didn't mean to. I didn't plan to. But I love that little girl like she's my own. And the thought of anything happening to her—" She stopped. Swallowed. "I can't lose her. I can't lose either of you." Marcus pulled her into his arms. "You're not going to lose us. You don't know that. I know that I'm not going anywhere. I know that Emma loves you more than she's ever loved anyone except me. I know that whatever happens, we face it together." He pulled back to look at her. "That's what family does." Diana's breath caught. "Family. Yeah, family. That's what we are, Diana. Maybe we haven't said it out loud. Maybe we've been too scared to admit it. But that's what this is. You, me, Emma. A family. I've never had a family. Not really. Not since my mother died." "You have one now." Diana was quiet for a long moment. Then slowly she nodded. "A family." She repeated like she was testing the word, tasting it. "I like the sound of that." Emma's fever broke the next morning. The doctors called it a textbook recovery. Antibiotics working as intended. No complications. No long-term concerns. She'd need to rest for a few days, but she'd be fine. When Marcus told Emma the news, she looked past him to Diana, who was standing in the doorway. "Are you staying?" Emma asked. "I'm staying." "Good. Because I had a dream last night that you left and I didn't like it." Diana walked to the bed and sat beside Emma. "I'm not going anywhere. I promise. Cross your heart. Cross my heart." Emma held out her pinky. "Pinky, swear." Diana looked at the small finger extended toward her. Then she hooked her own pinky around Emma's. "Pinky, swear." Emma smiled and closed her eyes. Within seconds, she was asleep again. Diana looked up at Marcus. "What?" he asked. "Nothing. Just, this is real, isn't it? This is actually happening." "Yeah, it is." "I'm terrified." "Me too." "But you're staying anyway." "I'm staying anyway." Diana smiled, and in that smile, Marcus saw something he'd never seen before. Hope. The Henderson ribbon cutting was rescheduled. Diana made the call herself, telling the investors and board members that a family emergency had taken priority. Some of them grumbled. Tom Richardson asked pointed questions about timing and commitment. Diana didn't flinch. "My family comes first," she said. "If that's a problem, you can find another CEO." No one found another CEO. The ceremony took place 2 weeks later on a sunny Saturday afternoon. Emma was there fully recovered, wearing a new dress she'd picked out specifically for the occasion. "I want to look pretty," she'd said. Like Diana. Diana had helped her get ready, braiding her hair and letting her borrow a small necklace, a simple gold chain with a tiny dove pendant. "This was my mother's," Diana said, fastening it around Emma's neck. "She gave it to me before she died. I've never let anyone else wear it." Emma touched the pendant with reverent fingers. "Are you sure?" "I'm sure. It looks better on you anyway." The ceremony itself was everything Marcus had worked for. Journalists snapped photos of the gleaming steel framework. Investors congratulated Diana on another successful project. Tom Richardson gave a speech about visionary leadership that almost sounded sincere. But the best moment came after the official program ended. Marcus was standing near the construction site, looking up at the building he'd designed when Diana appeared beside him. "Congratulations," she said. "Congratulations to you. This is your company." "This is our company. I couldn't have done this without you." Marcus turned to face her. "You know, 6 months ago I was terrified of you. I thought you were cold and unapproachable and impossible to please." "I am cold and unapproachable and impossible to please. You're also the kindest person I've ever met. You just hide it better than most." Diana laughed softly. "I've had a lot of practice." "I know, but you don't have to hide anymore. Not from me, not from Emma." "I'm trying. It's harder than I expected. Letting people in." "You're doing great." "I burned pancakes again this morning." "That's not what I meant." "I know." Diana looked up at the building. "My father would have loved this. He used to talk about buildings like they were living things. Every structure tells a story, he'd say. The question is whether it's a story worth telling." "Is this one worth telling?" "I think so. It's about second chances, about building something beautiful from the ground up." Diana paused. "About finding family in unexpected places." Marcus took her hand. "That sounds like a good story." "It is. The best one I've ever been part of." They stood there in silence, watching the sun glint off the steel framework, their fingers intertwined. "Daddy, Diana. Come look." Emma was waving at them from across the site, standing next to a small patch of grass where someone had planted flowers. They walked over together. "Look," Emma said, pointing at a cluster of white blooms. "Doves." Diana knelt down beside her. "Those are actually called peace lilies, sweetheart. They look like doves, like the ones in the sand dollar. You're right. They do look like doves. Can we plant some at home in our garden? Diana looked up at Marcus. Our garden? Marcus shrugged. She's been calling your apartment home for about a month now. Didn't want to say anything. A month? Maybe longer. Kids adapt fast. Diana turned back to Emma. You think of my apartment as home. Well, yeah, that's where you live, and Daddy stays there sometimes. And I have my own room with the purple curtains you let me pick out. That's what home is. Emma tilted her head. Isn't it? Diana's eyes filled with tears. Yeah, she whispered. That's what home is. 1 year to the day after the beach incident, Marcus took Diana and Emma back to Sunset Pier. It was Emma's idea. We should celebrate, she said at breakfast. It's our anniversary. Anniversary of what? Diana asked. Of when you became family. Duh. Marcus and Diana exchanged glances. Neither of them had realized Emma had been keeping track. She's got a point, Marcus said. She always has a point. It's exhausting. I heard that, Emma called from the living room. So, they went to the beach. The same beach where everything had started. The same stretch of sand where Diana's cover-up had blown away, where Emma had found her sand dollar, where 3 strangers had become something more. The wind was gentler today. The sun was warmer, and everything felt different. Emma ran ahead, her feet kicking up sand as she raced toward the water. Not past your knees, Marcus shouted. I know Daddy, Diana laughed. Does she ever actually listen to that rule? Never, but I keep saying it anyway. They spread out their blanket in the same spot Marcus had occupied a year ago. Diana sat down, tucking her legs beneath her, and Marcus settled beside her. 1 year, Diana said quietly. 1 year. A lot has changed. Everything has changed. Diana was quiet for a moment, watching Emma splash in the shallow waves. I was so scared that day, she finally said. When the wind caught my wrap, when I saw you looking at me, I thought my life was over. I thought everyone would find out, and the board would lose confidence, and everything I'd built would come crashing down. Instead, your life was just beginning. I didn't know that then. Neither did I. Marcus took her hand. I thought you were going to fire me. I almost did, for about 30 seconds. What stopped you? Emma. The way she looked at me. The way she offered me a sandwich like I was just another person at the beach, not some terrifying CEO. Diana smiled. She saw right through me. She does that. I know. It's terrifying and wonderful at the same time. Emma came running back, breathless and grinning. I found another sand dollar, look. She held it up proudly. It was hole perfect without a single crack. That's beautiful, sweetheart, Marcus said. Can we break it to let the doves out? Diana reached out and took the sand dollar. Are you sure it's perfect? You might want to keep it that way. But then the doves can't fly. They'll be stuck inside forever. Some people think it's better to keep things perfect, unbroken, safe. That's silly. Things aren't supposed to be stuck. They're supposed to be free. Diana looked at the sand dollar for a long moment. Then carefully, she broke it in half. 5 tiny dove-shaped pieces fell into her palm. Make a wish, she said, handing them to Emma. Emma squeezed her eyes shut, clutching the doves tight. Then she threw them into the air, watching them scatter in the wind. What did you wish for? Marcus asked. I can't tell you. That's the rule. Since when? Since always. Everyone knows that. Diana laughed. She's got you there. Emma plopped down between them on the blanket, sandy and wet and perfectly happy. I love it here, she announced. Can we come back every year on our anniversary? I don't see why not, Marcus said. Promise. Promise. You too, Diana. You have to promise. Diana looked at Emma, then at Marcus, then at the ocean stretching endlessly toward the horizon. I promise, she said. They stayed at the beach until sunset. Emma built sandcastles. Diana helped getting steadily better at it over the course of the afternoon. Marcus took photos, dozens of them, more than he'd taken in years. When the sun started to sink toward the water, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink, Emma fell asleep on the blanket, exhausted from the day. Diana and Marcus sat beside her, watching the waves roll in. "I have something to ask you," Diana said. "Okay." She reached into her pocket and pulled out a small box. Marcus's heart stopped. "Before you say anything," Diana continued, "I know this is unconventional. I know traditionally you're supposed to be the one doing this, but I've never been traditional, and I'm not about to start now." She opened the box. Inside was a ring. Simple, elegant. A band of white gold with a small diamond that caught the fading light. "Diana, let me finish." She took a breath. "1 year ago, the worst moment of my life turned into the best thing that ever happened to me. I was humiliated and exposed and terrified, and then I looked across the beach and saw a man with kind eyes and a daughter who could see through walls. And somehow, impossibly, that became this. Us. A family. Diana. I spent 30 years building walls. You and Emma tore them all down. I spent 30 years believing I didn't deserve love. You and Emma proved me wrong." Diana's voice cracked. "I don't want to spend another day wondering what we are. I don't want to keep waiting for the other shoe to drop. I want to be your wife, Marcus. I want to be Emma's mother. I want to come home to you every night and wake up beside you every morning and grow old watching that little girl become the incredible woman she's going to be." She held out the ring. "Will you marry me?" Marcus stared at the ring. At Diana. At this woman who had terrified him for 4 years and then transformed his entire life in 12 months. "You're supposed to say something," Diana whispered. "The silence is killing me." "I'm trying to find the right words." Words like yes would be good. "Yes." Diana's face lit up. "Yes. Yes. 1,000 times yes. 1,000,000 times yes." Marcus took the ring from her hand and slid it onto his finger. "I've been trying to figure out how to ask you for months. I had this whole plan: dinner, candles, Emma presenting the ring on a pillow." "That sounds complicated." "It was. This is better." "Really? Really, this is perfect. The beach where we met. The sunset. Emma right here beside us." Marcus cupped Diana's face in his hands. "You're perfect." "I'm not perfect." "You're perfect for me." Diana laughed, tears streaming down her face. "I love you," she said. "I love you too. I never said that before, to anyone, not since my mother." "I know. It's terrifying. I know that too. But I mean it. I love you, Marcus Chen. I love your daughter. I love this messy, complicated, beautiful life we're building together." Marcus kissed her. It was a long kiss, deep and full of promise. When they finally broke apart, Emma was sitting up, rubbing her eyes. "What's happening?" she mumbled. Diana held up Marcus's hand, showing her the ring. Emma's eyes went wide. "Does this mean—" "It means Diana asked me to marry her. And you said yes. I said yes." Emma launched herself at both of them, wrapping her arms around their necks and squeezing with all her 7-year-old strength. "This is the best anniversary ever." "You planned this, didn't you?" Diana asked, laughing through her tears. "Maybe a little. Mrs. Patterson helped." "Mrs. Patterson." "She said someone needed to push you two along. She said you were taking too long." Marcus shook his head. "Remind me to thank her." "You can thank her at the wedding. She's already planning it. She said she knows a guy who does flowers." Diana looked at Marcus. Marcus looked at Diana. "What have we gotten ourselves into?" Diana asked. "A family," Marcus replied, "with all the chaos that comes with it. I wouldn't have it any other way. Neither would I." The sun sank below the horizon, and the three of them sat together on the blanket, watching the stars emerge one by one. Emma fell asleep again, her head in Diana's lap, her small hand clutching the fabric of Diana's dress. "She does that," Marcus said softly. "Falls asleep on people she loves." "I noticed. You're the only person she's ever fallen asleep on besides me." Diana stroked Emma's hair gently. "I'm honored." "You should be. Emma doesn't trust easily. She's been let down before. By her mother. By her mother. By babysitters who didn't show up. By a world that doesn't always make room for little girls with big feelings." Marcus paused. "You're different. She knew it from the moment she met you." "How?" "I don't know. Kids see things we miss. They see the truth behind the masks." Diana was quiet for a long moment. "My mother used to say that children are closer to God than adults," she finally said. "Because they haven't learned how to lie yet. They see the world as it really is, not as we pretend it to be." "Your mother sounds like she was wise." "She was. She was the kindest person I ever knew. Patient. Loving. Everything I'm not." "You're more like her than you think." Diana looked down at Emma. "Maybe. I hope so. I know so." They sat in silence for a while longer, listening to the waves and the wind and the quiet breathing of the child between them. Then Marcus spoke. "1 year ago, I accidentally saw my boss topless at the beach." Diana laughed. "That's one way to put it. She caught me staring. I did. I thought my life was over. So did I. Instead, I found my family." Marcus reached over and took her hand. "Instead, I found you." Diana interlaced her fingers with his. "The wind did us a favor that day. The biggest favor of my life. Mine too." They stayed at the beach until the moon rose high over the water. Then Marcus carried Emma to the car while Diana folded the blanket and gathered their things. On the drive home, Emma woke up just long enough to ask one question. "Are we going home now?" "Yes, sweetheart. We're going home. All of us together." Diana reached back and squeezed Emma's hand. "All of us. Together. Always." Emma smiled and closed her eyes. Marcus looked at Diana. Diana looked at Marcus. No more words were needed. They drove home through the quiet streets, a family forged from accident and circumstance and the stubborn refusal to let fear win. They had scars, all three of them, wounds that would never fully heal. Memories of loss and betrayal and loneliness that stretched back years. But they also had this, each other, a future they would build together one day at a time, the same way Marcus built buildings with patience and precision and unwavering faith that the foundation would hold. Because some foundations are worth building slowly. Some families are worth fighting for. And some love stories begin with the most embarrassing moments, unfold through the hardest challenges, and end with three people on a beach watching doves fly free, finally understanding that broken things can be beautiful too. That imperfect things can be whole. That home isn't a place, it's the people who stay. Marcus Chen had spent 4 years afraid of his boss, 3 years raising his daughter alone, and his entire adult life believing that love was something that happened to other people. He was wrong. Love happened to him on a windy Saturday at Sunset Pier, when the universe conspired to expose not just Diana's body, but both of their hearts. And in the end, that accidental glance, that moment of mortification and terror and shame, became the greatest gift he'd ever received. Because it gave him Diana. It gave Emma a mother. It gave all of them a home. And that Marcus knew with absolute certainty was worth every awkward moment, every sleepless night, and every burned pancake along the way. The best love stories aren't perfect, they're real. And this one was the realest story Marcus had ever lived.